Hi there everyone, we're back here at the Oxford University Museum of Natural History. We're backstage in the conservation area with Bethany, the conservator. We have a saying here on Objectivity, Bethany. Yeah. What's in the box? Look at this, you've got a box here and it's going to have something really cool in it, isn't it?
Yeah, so this box contains something very special. Are you ready for this? It is the complete model of a beehive made by a French artist called Jerome Auzoux from the mid-19th century.
Jerome Auzoux.
Il est français. Jerome. No.
Anglais, s'il vous plaît.
So Jerome Auzoux was a French doctor, and he had the ingenious idea of, instead of having to locate and source real corpses to dissect, he could make them out of papier-maché.
This is human corpses?
Yeah.
So he would, like, almost like as an education aid, he would make these papier-maché humans.
Yeah.
Right.
And his business expanded into making organs, so he started making eyes, and then towards the end of his career it expanded again into making plant models and insect models like the one you see here.
Okay, so basically he's branched out into papier-maché, beehives and bees.
This was donated to the museum through the widow of a beekeeper, actually. It was in pretty poor condition when it arrived, so it's been undergoing some conservation treatment.
So this is the hive.
Yep.
And the bees are attached to the box here via little hooks. And there are hooks here on the hive too, so I assume the bees can be hooked on the hive when it's being displayed.
Yeah, almost like a Christmas tree.
Okay, yeah, little bee ornaments. They look very fragile.
So it's basically a papier-maché base, which was strips of paper and starch paste, chalk, and a few secret ingredients.
Right.
Which she never told us what they were. And then it's been painted with egg tempera paint, like a protein paint, and then finished with a gelatin varnish originally.
All right, well here's a different bee now. I've got BC.
When it arrived here, the specimens were covered in a cellulose nitrate coating, which was very prolific in the 60s and 70s as a coating to make things glossy. But I since removed that because it was basically disguising all of the beautiful paintwork and actively deteriorating. And
we also have a before picture of BC, and you can see there all that kind of yucky gloss that was put on it before Bethany got to work.
Not only was it disguising the beautiful paintwork, but there were also underneath, there were areas of fur, natural hair, which we identified as rabbit hair, and that had been hidden underneath this coating as well. So once you remove that, we could see a bit more of what he was trying to create, which was the bee fuzz.
So he was using rabbit hair to make the bee fuzzy like a real bee?
Yeah.
Oh, and here we see some more of the work Bethany's done. We see here the before picture with all this gloss over the top, and you can see now that you've scrubbed it back to as it was intended by the original artist.
Definitely, and we also found areas of oil paint which had been sort of frantically applied. It was dripping over lots of original features. We identified this as oil paint, which isn't original to what he would have used, so I also removed lots of that, and I left a little section here so you can see the before and after. The oil paint darkens over time and becomes really brittle, and then this is what the natural paint job is like underneath.
So you've just left that part there to show off basically and show how good you are.
And once you guys leave, it's going to be removed.
Okay.
This is a little cell.
Oh, little hiding place.
And that would be for, I've been told, either a queen bee or a drone, but no one's home. And this is showing you the stages of life from the egg to the larvae to the bees that eventually hatch out.
Oh yeah, so you're looking inside, it's done like a timeline. Education in every cell. Another thing, if we look closely at some of these bees, we've got more to reveal here, haven't we?
So this is a tiny little copper pin, and that comes out like that. And then inside you can see
wow.
the organs of the bee.
Look at that. Would this be accurate, do you think? Do you think he...
Oh yeah, it would be.
This is crazy.
That was his skill, was to make everything as accurate as possible. And even this really fine paint job here is just gorgeous.
When you look really closely, you can see lots of these parts of the bee's innards have been labelled with numbers. I'm imagining this is some sort of key or labelling. Or...
Yeah, so I'm sure originally this model would have come with some documentation that would tell you the numbers that correlate to the parts of anatomy. Different sections.
Okay, so it'd be like, this is the liver.
Yeah.
This is the spleen.
I can't tell you what any of this is.
I don't know. Do bees have a liver? I don't know. Leave a comment.
Tell us.
This is amazing. Here's another one where we can see the inside, more taken apart. Underneath, like, the fat part of the innards, like, you know, what I imagine is like some sort of digestive system, but may not be. There's even more intricate innards of the bee, like little tiny tubes and filaments and...
All kinds.
Are these rare?
Very, very rare. In my research, I've only managed to track down 2 complete hives and just a handful of random bees in collections. So it's very, very rare. Also, if you work in a museum and you have a beehive by Jerome Auzoux, please tell us.
Yeah. Once you've finished your work, do you have any clue, or do you just say to the bosses at the museum, all right, I fixed it?
Yeah, it's finished, and then it would be ready to potentially go on display. Or it will go back in the collection and be used by researchers, and especially people with an interest in historical model making.
Well, there you go. Thank you for introducing us to the hive and all these wonderful bees.
You're very welcome.
I really like them. Brilliant. This episode of Objectivity was brought to you by 23andMe, the online genetics service that helps you learn what the 23 pairs of chromosomes that make up your DNA can teach you about your ancestry, traits and health. If you'd like to help with scientific research and discovery, or just learn your own personal DNA story, go to 23andme.com/objectivity.